Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Ford Fairmont. Now, today we're going to be talking about club permit. And if you're not from Australia or maybe even Victoria, you're probably not even familiar with what club permit is. Well, it's a type of registration, but we're going to get into that more later. This is my 1992 Ford Fairmont, something I've recently just gotten on the road. And the way I've done it is a bit different to your average car. So on your day-to-day basis, when you're driving, walking around, you might see cars with these types of plates. They're burgundy, they're 5 numbers followed by a letter, usually H. And you might think, what is that? You know, what are those plates? If you go onto the VicRoads website, you can't buy those plates. It's only for these types of vehicles. So today I'm going to be discussing what club permit is, how much it costs this car to get on club permit to start off with, and then I'm just going to be going over the entire process in a completely transparent way, how much money I've spent on this car, how much money the previous owner spent on this car, basically what it costs to get on the road and where it is now and all registered. Alright, straight off the bat, I'm going to be discussing club permit. Club permit is pretty simple. There's a few ways to get onto it. The way most people do is you need a roadworthy, which means your car is basically in good enough condition to be on the road, it's safe, whatever. And then number two is finding a club that will take your car. Now in 2023, there's clubs left, right, and center that'll take any car, basically in any condition, they don't care. But what that does matter, the government needs to be 25 years old and it needs to have a roadworthy. That's all they care about. Because club permits aren't actually run by the government, they're run by individual clubs. And then the club will usually charge you between 20, say $30. Some will charge you 50. Some really exclusive ones will charge you 100. And then for the fees, it's about, I don't know, $150, but I'll break that down more. Alright, so like I was saying, club permit. You can see this one with its plates, it's already on the road. Now, with the club permit, right, one like this, heritage plates, whatever, you either can drive it 45 days a year or 90. So 90 basically means it's a weekend car. You know, you're only going to be driving it on the weekend, which this is. This is my weekend car. Well, soon to be daily. And you can see it's fairly tidy. And if we come to the back here, that is my club, E-Series Owners Club, because this is an EB Fairmont, an E-Series. So my club will only take E-Series, and they charged, I think it was $30, and that was that. You can see this isn't the most cleanest car, we'll get into that later. So yes, it is about $150. That's because with the first purchase you make is always the most expensive, because you have to buy the plates, which is one thing, and then just the first startup costs always the most, you know. But other than that, after that, it's $50 for the club price and then about $50 every year on club permit registration. And basically the way they know you're filling it out 90 days a week is, I'll show you, or 90 days a year. It's by this sort of thing here, the club permit book. So what you do is, quite simply, you write the date, what your use is, name of the driver, and then the signature. And that's your book. This is basically what they check. You have to write this down before every single drive. So if you get pulled over and it's not filled in, you're looking at a huge fine. So yes, that is the cost of club permit. Now, the roadworthies in Victoria are $300 flat rate just to get it on the road. That's just the certificate, assuming you need no work on your car. Alright? The $300. So it's $300 plus $50 for whatever your club's going to charge you. It's probably going to be 50. And then let's say $250 to be safe on just charges from VicRoads for the plates and stuff. So you're looking between $550 to $600 minimum for your first year. And that might seem like a lot considering full rego is about $850. You might think, why not spend the extra $250, $300 and not have to worry about any of that? Well, it's because after the first year, it's only going to be $50 from your club and $50 from Victoria, the government. That means to get this thing registered next year, it's only $100, and that gives you heaps of money to put back into the car. You can see this is far from clean. It's got plenty of damage, or not damage, just, you know, the paint's not immaculate. So that, you know, I'd rather put money into keeping this clean and putting more into it, because you're saving $800 a year. And also, this is a big engine. Now, see, this is a 6-cylinder 4-litre, which doesn't seem huge. The dogs love this video, as you can see. Anyway, it's a big engine, not huge, but it's big enough. It is EFI as well, but this thing does absolutely drink. So I would rather be spending that $800 that I'm saving on fuel, being able to drive this, and being my daily loose term. You might think I can only drive 90 days a year, but because I own 2 other cars, it's alright as a daily. It's not daily right now, but it is soon to be. So I can get away with it, you know, you save a lot of money. So that's your startup costs just for club permit alone. So as far as buying one of these cars and getting on the road, like all up costs, for me, I spent $300 on the roadworthy, and then I bought this car for 3 grand, which I think is pretty good considering the work that's been done. You can say otherwise. And then I bought Simmons wheels for it as well, which I've got a video on as well, which I haven't installed just yet. I'm just waiting to get tires on it and spaces and all the rest. But as it sits, this car was $3,500 on the road, 4,000 if you include the wheels, which I paid $500 for. But that's exactly as you see it now. But if you see my video on this car, you know that a lot of work has been done to this car that I didn't have to pay for. And that's because of the two previous owners, one being one of my very close friends and another one being a complete random who we bought the car off. So he originally bought this car for $4,000, right? But it had white Simmons on it, which he sold for like 800, and he kept the XR front kit. As you might remember, he used to have an XR kit on the front. So he also did just some basic work, you know, like rocker cover gasket. This needs a paint badly. And then he lowered it as well, so you can see it's nice and lowered. This is as low as it gets for roadworthy as well. You can't go any lower. New shocks, king springs, and in the back is some more goodies. Now it is a bit hard to see, but we've got brakes, pads and rotors, and AU injectors. He bought the brakes, pads and rotors. So that's a fair bit of work. He would have spent probably $4,000 on this car, minus, you know, wheels, an XR body kit, plus probably $1,000 in just shit he's bought for the car, and then he ended up selling it to me because he's building his own 400 kilowatt BA, 400 kilowatt EV fairmont gear, which looks absolutely insane, and will be on the channel as soon as it's done. So as far as costs for the car, it's probably been about $1,000 put into it because for a roadworthy, it has to be running immaculately. The thing you can get away with roadworthy with this car allegedly is it goes through the club, not Vic roads. So the roadworthy does not go through Vic roads at all, only the club. So Vic roads never has anything to do with these cars. Well, in my experience, it never did anyway. So as long as it looks fairly tidy, you're going to be all good. But obviously a roadworthy isn't going to want obvious shit wrong with it, like a roadworthy supplier, because then if you get pulled over 2 days after you get a roadworthy, cops are going to be a bit sus. Now, since then, well, actually the moment I bought the car, I should say, this had a misfire, a violent misfire. The moment it passed 3,000 RPM, it just wouldn't even pass 3,000 RPM. It's like a limiter or something. So on the forums from 2008, which ironically is like 20 years after this car came out almost, it said a common issue is a TPS, throttle position sensor. So I replaced it. It was already in the boot with the car, and I chucked it on. It was a super easy job. My mate helped me do it, and now the car runs mint. This was already T5 converted, and if you see the prices of T5s now, it's almost the price of the car, like what I paid for it, 3 grand. It's ridiculous. So the car's done a lot. Also, that came with it is a shift knob for the manual, and then AU injectors, which I will be installing very soon. Now, that's really it. That's all the car came with, you know. But other than that, it's fairly factory. I changed the head unit and just some other creature comforts. I had speakers already installed. And for it is, it's fairly clean. But there's a lot of money that needs to be spent. Just because it's on club permit now, I still have a lot of money I want to spend. Right now, I'm about 4K out of pocket for buying the car on the road plus the Simmons. But to get it where I want, I'm going to have to spend a hell lot more money. So just going through it, aesthetics, like paint or whatever, and then like modifications. Those are the two categories I need. Because for now, I just got in a position where it runs absolutely flawlessly. And if I want to drive every day, I can. I've got a factory steering wheel back on it and cruise control, and it just runs really well. Everything works, you know, except for the AC, which I really need to do. Especially here in Melbourne, it's getting really hot. I need a damn AC. But I'm going to start with the basics, like the paint. Let's go suss it out. Because this paint, when I bought the car a year ago and did that video, I said one of the pros was the paint. But now it's turning more into a con. And the paint itself is fairly clean. There's no peeling or fading. It's just the imperfections are everywhere. Okay, so this is everything I need doing. And the first thing is paint. Because you can see kind of everywhere is paint issues. Like, you know, even in the engine bay, I want to repaint the rocker cover. So like another red and just give this clean. Might even wrap the exhaust manifold because it is kind of in the wind, which I don't love. So, that's about it for the engine bay really. I want to get a clear version of these. But it's all aesthetics. It's nothing you need to do. I might even do like AU injectors eventually as well, which I think makes the car a bit more efficient and maybe make a bit more power. On the front, I'd love to put a Ford badge there. But other than that, it's really paint. Like you can see everywhere is just like kind of imperfections. Like I'm gonna respray these. I've also got red to go around here, which is what the XRs have, and I think it looks really good along the entire sides. But yeah, I might even debadge it as well because the badges are getting a bit tired. But it's really mainly paint. Like you can see the paint issues are just everywhere. There's just paint issues after issues, you know. So the roof, like it's not bad. There's no fading or anything. You might even think it looks pretty clean, but there's just so many imperfections. All that's just clouds. But you get the point. Like along here, I don't know if this has been resprayed before, but you know, it's good from afar, far from good. There's a little repair that was done. So I would love to respray it. Before I respray it, I'm probably going to respray this myself, just because this is really obvious and really bad. And you might think it's pointless, but it's probably only going to cost me 50 bucks or 100 bucks to do myself, and it wouldn't make a bad video either. So I'm curious, guys. I know a lot of you will have mixed feelings about this, but I've been seeing everywhere on my Facebook is these $2,300 closed door race sprays, right? And I think a car like this is a perfect candidate because this is a daily, I park it outside a lot. I don't have a garage space. I do leave it under a car cover, but it's always outside, and it's just a daily. It's a cheap daily. I'm not going to put $15,000 into race spraying a $3,000 car. I just think that's dumb. So what do you think? If I got a $2,300 race spray on this, I think it'd make a good video. We can see what the jobs are like because from everything I'm seeing in all the reviews, they seem like really decent jobs. The thing is, there is no bodywork, but this car, I don't actually think it needs much bodywork. Like every panel is pretty straight, even down the side of the car. All the doors are straight. Like, you know, I think it's fine. There's no major damage anywhere. Even the roof is really clear. It's like clearly got no hail damage. I would say this is probably a factory paint. So, it's clearly been looked after by someone. So I don't think it needs much bodywork, if any. There's not much rust. It's just more like stuff like this, crackling. And like you get little rust spots kind of here and there, but they're just factory surface rust. Something that'd get sanded down. So I think this would be a really good car for that $2,300 respray. It'd be something way down the line, but I think this is definitely a good car for it. Other than that is at the back is the tail lights. You can see this one is cracked. It's like underneath the headlight. It's not even on the surface. But, when you take a few steps back, you can't even really tell. But there's no point. And then this rear garnish, again, it's like cracked under the surface. It's really weird. But, you know, I might get that entire rear garnish replaced because, again, it's far from perfect. So why not? It's $300. I found one, a guy that's going to sell me the rear garnish and that tail light. Even this one I might get done, but who knows? It's a lot of things that I don't really need to worry about right now. But like other than that, I'm going to get the windows all tinted, probably 10% window tint because in the summer, it's just crazy. You can see the factory tint has definitely seen better days. And I think the white on black would look really good as well. Now, if I did respray it, I'd probably respray these white as well, like get the guided on white and then do those red at the same time. But I think that's a real later issue. Like, I'm not really worried because as you can see, it looks good enough. For now, I reckon I'm going to get the Simmons wheels on it and put the new tyres on it. The reason I'm holding off is because these tyres are actually in really good health. Like, they're practically brand new. And that's because the previous owner replaced them right before I got the car. So I'm just riding these tyres right now because then once they get a bit older, I can always have them as a spare, but I'll get the Simmons on it. And it does need a bit of a wheel alignment. But that's really it. That's about it for this old girl. She's over 30 years old. And I think the interior is really clean. Does need a detail, but for what it is, it's really clean. The exterior is clean enough. And just in general, like it's on the road. Now you know how much club permit costs and the plates. And yeah, you can see what the future plans for this car are. I've already spent a lot of money, like head unit and stuff like that. But it just shows. You get an older car like this, it might be $3,200 on Facebook, but there's so many costs you probably never even think of. And club permit might seem cheap at the start. Oh, sorry, I should say in the long run, which it is, but at the start, it is a bit of a bite. And I think it's worth it, especially for these older cars, but they are quirky in their own ways. You just got to keep on top of them, keep looking after them. Like this paint was so much cleaner when I first bought the car, and it's been under a car cover the entire time, but just paint ages. It's as simple as that, especially if you live in like Victoria or even Queensland where it's just hot all the time and the summers are brutal. It's just something to keep in mind. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys want to see me try and respray that boot, like the video, let me know. Comment what you want to see in this car. I read every single comment. I try and reply to them all as well. Hope you guys have a better understanding of club permit. Ciao.